And as earlier mentioned, we have Joseph Muraya, who is a specialist that is in matters politics, who joins us again.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We had already started,
yeah,
but we're glad that you could join us at this point.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
I am in love with Naivasha for a moment, but not in love with the cold. Which I think is just about a matter of adjusting, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Sawa, you've been well since the last time we had you on the other side?
Doing good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thank God.
Tunaangalia siasa hapa, tunaangalia gazeti au magazeti yanasema nini.
Yeah.
And there is so much that is happening right here in the country, that is current affairs. Before we delve deep into the politics of the day, pay freeze for civil servants, teachers. Civil servants and teachers become the first victims of a lending program that Kenya entered with the IMF amid an economic slump blamed on COVID-19. That is after they are denied a pay increase for the next about 2 years. A story captured on page 6. And this, I'm told, will affect even the president, will affect the deputy, will affect the members of parliament, members of county assemblies. Is it a cash crunch that, is biting deep into other individuals, or, well, such was expected?
Linda, because of the pandemic that has hit the country and the world,
yeah,
I don't see it in bad faith.
Right.
So if such a move can be seen in many of our institutions, it could be very good.
It could be very good. Members of parliament, especially those ones who are aspiring to be, will always condemn the ones that are in the house. But once they get into the house, I don't know what happens. And they change tone in most cases. We have constantly seen them to appear as though they are twisting the hand of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Yes. I don't know whether it will be the same this time around, or they will agree to the fact that, well, it's desperate times and it calls for desperate measures. And would we say it's the pandemic, or it's that declaration by the IMF? Because remember, they said if we have to release this loan, then you have to do something on this side of the civil servants.
So Rita, I also feel like Mwangi, that because we didn't know that we are in hard economic times now that we have the COVID-19 and all that. But most of our leaders, I think it has been a bit of a big problem for this country, because majority of the leaders are to go for these top seats and even elective seats, and even a few of us, they focus more on money, not on servanthood. And I think that has been the challenge that we've been having. So that when you go out to seek for an elective post, me, I equate it like a pastor or maybe a bishop or whoever, because you need to take care of God's flock and say that either way you are there for them. But unfortunately, you see a few of most of our Kenyan people, the voters, really don't know what to go for when it comes to leadership. Because you see, I believe it is an issue of ideologies and all that, which has never been the case. So once you, like me, have been aspiring on the basis of ideologies, we need to save this catchment, as I was telling you. We need to maybe create some employment for young men and women in this country. Maybe coming up with some, light industries and all that. But to see when it comes to the leaders we have, whether they are focused in how they can make money, and that really does not distinguish them from any other ordinary Kenyan.
That's true.
But I think I'll blame the voter, because if you could have the right priorities and seek for what you want in a leader as you go voting, we really have good people, because at the good in time, I always say that God, in his own good time, he has never left his people. So when you go to the ballot box, you always get a good guy there. Unfortunately, how to get them, I think that has been the thing.
Contradicts my statement, Muraya, that sometimes they appear as though they are very good until they get into the house. Or they get into the positions that you are surprised at the magnitude that they change.
You see, Linda, we must be very honest, because also we as voters, we tend to engage these people in increasing their salaries. Because once you are elected an MP or an MCA, everyone is at your phone. Now and then you are receiving almost 1,000 calls. I have no food, I have no paid for the children's fees, whatever. So with the little salary these people are getting, and with the much cost they are receiving, they tend to increase their salary.
Are you planning to get into politics, to become a member of parliament? Therefore, you're trying to justify this as early as now.
I'm not justifying, it's the reality.
It's the reality. You know, some of them tell me that they have to leave their homes as early as 5 a.m.
Exactly.
Yes.
So by the time Mwananchi comes knocking, Mheshimiwa is not around.
Why? Because all the problems will be brought to you by these our voters. Yes, they voted for us, let's say it, but you are paid every month. But on daily basis, you receive visitors, you receive people claiming or demanding from you to give them money. They need to cater for this, they need to go to market, they need to go to hospital, they need to go. So they tend to make them increase the salary.
But I think, Mr. Mwangi, I think, as you say, of course, it's a challenge, because even for me, I also have the same issues, even being an aspiring candidate. Which is it is really a challenge for most MPs and leaders. But more to say, I think I would also blame the leaders, because they have not created opportunity. You know what counts, why people are having issues and why people go for leaders? It's because they need somebody who can work out the issues that they have. And more so, like now, Bwana Mwangi, you know, we have issues of unemployment in this constituency and other areas. So if we could have somebody who has some good policies for the people, so that it can have some form of earning, I think this country would be a better place for everybody. I don't think you even have anybody coming to your door. But now that, because these people, they're looking upon their leaders to show them direction, and the leaders does not even have a policy. What do you expect? So we have issues. Like Naivasha, you know, you can, Bwana Mwangi is good to attest that there's a lot of natural resources. I've always been telling them, because that had been one of my policies, that we have one of our natural resources in Maimahiu called, you see, Mchanga, sand and all that. And we also have pumice. So I've been telling people that if only we can have some small industries, we do some concrete blocks for young, so that you see those light industries and all that. Maybe also look at, like now the leads around this Naivasha, Lake Naivasha. We make some, you know, some mats and all that. You know, there's so much that could be done. Maybe also like the thing I was saying about having some catchments. We have the check dams. All this water coming all over from Kinango. We have some dams and all that, so that of course we can check this siltation, this water, the water that is heavy in you know, the topsoil that comes into this lake.
You know, I am curious to understand the engagement first of the current county government, that is in Naivasha, and how they get to interact with the people, the aspect of public participation. I realize that your governor is so huge in social media, and there's so much traffic there, as the people of Nakuru respond to the needs and respond, and you know, kind of give the advice of what they would want as a people. And that I am impressed about, the fact that we have Mwananchi engaged and you know, like keen to understand what can we do so that we make the best of the county, which is not always, you know, across other counties, and therefore that is something that needs to be recommended, to be applauded. And so I'd really love to understand, at what point then do you have these engagements with your leaders? And at the moment you have these engagements, are they people that you can access, you can reach to? What goes there in terms of advice and in terms of, you know, action plans that are normally set to make sure that these things that we're talking about today are addressed?
Rita, if I just say something on engagement with our leaders, it's automatically out of what we are being told. In our constitution, we are guaranteed to have public participation, so that we can engage with our leaders. But the part,
Lucy, thank
it's
you.
Only, but it's only in papers, not in reality. There's no time we have ever had to engage our leaders and give them what we have in mind. So the big problem is that we have never got the chance to engage our leaders.
Speak for yourself for a moment, but I agree, which is one thing that needs to be looked into. I heard a conversation again with Honorable John Mututho yesterday. He alluded to that fact that there's not been so much of engaging the common mwananchi in the progress of the county.
Yeah.
But you also agree with me that before we came back from the break, we have the engineer here arguing that they had a conversation with the governor, and therefore the question is, don't they speak about these things? Don't they highlight these things? And once they highlight, just how much is being done towards, of course, incorporating their ideas? Do you want to say the leadership ignores, the wisdom that is, given to them for free from the common mwananchi or by the common mwananchi?
I think, Rida, I think it is good to admit, of course, as Mr. Mona is saying, and what you are saying, of course, there is a bit of frustration with the people in matters concerning the participation from the top, almost from the top down. But I also must say that there's a limit, of course, the governor cannot go. And now that, of course, we have challenges of financial constraint. You hear, I think, the chairman of the Council of Governors. You see, he was also complaining that they have not received, I think it's 100 billion for the for development. So you can imagine there is a level we may not go as a governor. And,
but remember, Treasury also argues that, again, there are monies that are disbursed to the counties that are not being put to use.
Yes.
And the worst of all is that we have cases of lack of accountability on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
And therefore, we cannot use this as a justification for not addressing some of these things. Some of these people that we're talking about are second-term governors.
Yes.
What did they do during the first terms that now they can complain on the second term that, well, maybe we've not been able to do this because of the late disbursement of funds to the counties?
So I think, as we said earlier, Rida, the issue of that comes in is about the policies. If you lose out on good leaders at the onset, then you have nothing to complain. Because you see our people, you see even the governors themselves, they don't have policies. Maybe some got some money and they found that you see the post is quite lucrative. They hold, money and all that. So that has been the challenge all along. Because if you ask most of the governors, they will tell you they have maybe they have nothing. Because you see, once you go for any elective post, you need to have a route map. What do you want to take your people? Like now I remember His Excellency Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru. These guys, you see, once he went there, even a guy like Mwai Kibaki, at an old age, you see, he really knew where we want to take this country in terms of economy and maybe education and all that, and maybe Uhuru at the same time infrastructure and all that. So clearly, what comes out to me as a big problem for this country is the kind of leaders we lose out at the ballot, because you give them money, they have nowhere to take it. They only do roads, maybe a few roads, okay. But you see, this time round, I think what is hitting this country more to say is the issue of unemployment. And you see, I do a lot of business in China and India, and I can tell you most of the leaders there, they generally have skills in entrepreneurship. Because as much as you do, you lead people, if they have nothing on the table,
they will definitely.
In fact, now that is the direction this country should move. And we think that the holder of the position should have some issues of how we can create employment.
Perhaps a bottom-up approach, as the DP team would speak about?
But I don't want to say or to make it seem as if the readers we have don't have the policies. There are some circles that also sit around the leadership we have. So whoever takes any advice to the governor or to the MP, there is a circle that discuss your agenda. Why you came, why you are saying so, and once they dismiss your opinion, it's
totally
it is
squashed, and therefore there's really nothing much that can be done to
nothing can be done to. So we also need to know
Sits around.
surrounds the leadership.
Okay.
Because once you are not in good term with them, you are done. You are none of let me say, you cannot give any opinion. You cannot give any advice to that leader because from the onset, the circle is against you. So that's where we fail. Mwangi hawezi sema amekuja kufanya nini huyu. Hiyo maneno yake ni ile tu ya. So unaangushwa tu hapo.
Is the circle around the president falling down the DP now that he speaks of a bottoms-up approach? One of the key things that you speak about,
Yes.
And it appears as though he feels like he's been segregated, and even as he feels like he's been segregated, again, there's that feeling, a general feeling that the country is dwindling and dwindling economically.
Yes. So I think the issue of having this country going down economically, I think it is a bit overrated because there is so much that is happening, and I think we need to give kudos to the Excellency of the President, because you see, most of the things, serious policies done by any leader, they are not felt at the onset; they are felt later over the years. Like now, if we have, you see, sometimes, of course, we also have some investments in Nairobi. We've been having a lot of traffic. Now you can see that flyover coming all the way from the airport to Westlands. So clearly you can see, if we are able to unlock this city of ours, the great city, the city under the sun, I'm telling you, we'll be good to go.
Okay.
A few of us have been having issues of this traffic because, we also have investments there, and you could take. You have also been using the same route, maybe severally.
Yeah.
And you could hang on for hours and hours.
I missed a flight the other day.
You can imagine now.
Honestly,
if this guy could do this, and he does all the infrastructure things. And even more so like Naivasha, I don't think we have anything to complain. We have the SGL with us here. Okay. As much as others complain.
Being put to use as expected?
I'm telling you, yes, it will. Okay. Because you see now from my Mahiu, now it will connect to Naivasha. The old Lely. And now, you see, now you can imagine the level of investment that will come in handy with this SGL. So by and by, of course, we've seen we have a replication of a lot of infrastructure development moving on. You see the efforts of interaction nationally, whereby he is also able to engage with other leaders. You see China, you see UK. Everybody is fighting to have a cake in this country. So the issue of because you see, when we have a growing economy, it also calls for people also to engage soberly. Okay. Because it doesn't require petty people. It requires people now who are able to know, how do I take advantage of this infrastructure development? How do I take advantage of this peaceful coexistence that Uhuru has tried to come? I know everybody has his own issues, but I can tell you, even His Excellency the DP, it's good also for him to admit that as much as he feels this is politics. Okay. And everybody has his own way, and maybe he feels...
does he feel, Mariah, or is the reality of the matter, he's been segregated, he's not been segregated, even as he hunts for a running mate, in the coast and Mount Kenya?
I want to say this, Rinda. Since independent, we have had economic that trickles from up down now, and I think the DP reasoned to many Kenyans, and now he has an agenda that the bottom up is the way to go. Because now you see, you are saying you missed a flight. Also, he's talking about having investment in Nairobi. How many Kenyans?
No, that's a question.
Yeah, how many Kenyans
are going to benefit from the same really
from the
capitalize on this?
How many? So the bottom up now it's coming to make sure that yes, you have your business and you are an entrepreneur in Nairobi and in our cities, but what will make me to have money in my pocket? That's the problem we are having. And that's how now we are going to solve this unemployment. Mm-hmm. Come to me, let me have peace where I'm getting my money. If it's by selling sads from my mahi or fish from this lake, I need peace. I just need a way to do my business. Mm-hmm. Also, as you are doing your business up there.
Which is what we don't have today.
Which is what we don't have today.
Okay.
And
what is the guarantee, Mariah, that that is what the Tanga side or the DP will deliver? He's in government today.
You see, once you engage with a lot of people, you come up with ideas. I told you this. The DP is always seen holding talks with every kind of mwananchi.
Yeah.
Readers, the common mwananchi. So, kuongezea hiyo yote, you come up with a strategy. These people need this. The others need this.
Is it not close to what it is that we had as in the manifesto of Jubilee Party?
By the way, if we had implemented the manifesto to its fullest,
what stopped them from doing that? What
stopped it? What stopped us from implementing the manifesto? It what arose after 2017. That we thought we are building, but we were breaking.
With the kind of peaceful coexistence that is in the country today?
We don't have any peace.
After the handshake and all that?
Are we in peace? Are we in our freedom? Yet we have curfews.
I mean, what would you do? That is something that is happening across the world.
No, you cannot say that you have freedom, yet you are at the curfew hours and
that
whatever.
Has been instigated by the unprecedented times of COVID-19.
Let me ask you, does COVID spread at night?
Hold it right there. We take a short break, Mariah. We take a short break. I don't know whether this argument is here. Well, we'll come back, expound some more on that. Message hitting my desk is that the governor might not be able to be with us this morning. He sends his apologies. Why? We do not know, yet it was well communicated that we'll be having him as we look at the track record of his track record, for that matter, in regards to how he's run the affairs of Nakuru County. But all the same, we keep pushing with the gentlemen that are here. So allow us to take a quick break and we come back with that.
At Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient four-story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.
Yes, they are a dime in a dozen, but the real meat on these bones comes from trying to realize them.
We just need to perfect anything. If it's drawing, if it's music, pursue it 100% because it's something that is giving back.
Join me, Violet Njoki, as I tell you the stories of these executed ideas, because yours could be next. Mondays, 7:30 p.m.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Bring the story all the way, that is to your living room. We say that we are the home of untold stories, and therefore will go all ways to make sure that the story goes down to you. And courtesy of Morning Cafe, we are here and we're looking forward to have an incredible day, even as we have, a bit or about 1 hour, 30 minutes to close the show. Still with me as we're having the conversation as to what is happening in the country is Engineer Solomon Dego, who's seated right next to me. And on my farthest left is Joseph Muraya. We expound on what is happening in Naivasha and the general perspective of leadership across the country. The feedback is immense. Your governor confirmed 100% that he will be here with us this morning. Unfortunately, he's not been able to be here. And I have to register the disappointment of his people. Because like I said earlier on, I realize that the people of Nakuru are active, I'm telling you, on social media, and therefore they really had a lot of questions for Governor. Keep sending them, not to worry, because then we'll forward them to him directly, and therefore the few that he'll be able to address, then we believe he will address. You spoke to him yesterday. Why is he not here?
No, maybe that was a personal level.
I know,
but
right?
I must say that
I just had to put you
it
on
also
the spot.
depends on the level of engagement with you with the TV station, and maybe judging by maybe his busy schedule, I think it's normal for any leader. Even maybe Moraya may not was a bit late. Maybe he was also busy.
Okay, that's agreed. But yeah, we say all the same. We can't really hold him to that. There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason why he's not here.
Came.
But being represented fully, and as we address the issues of
yes.
Nakuru.
In fact, even issues of the county, these are issues that we know, and maybe you can also address, because you see this is a very good county, and Nakuru, Naivasha being the mainstay. We also concerned about really what happens in Nakuru.
Yes.
Actually, we offer so much votes to to Nakuru. We are about 140 registered voters now. We used to have an expansive Naivasha constituency that's used to encompass Gigil as well. So clearly, there's a block that also any governor cannot afford to ignore.
That's true.
So I think maybe his not coming could be maybe genuine.
Indeed, it is genuine. I am told he gives credible reasons as to why he's not here. Feedback, Papa Lolo Oti says, leaders are not elected to pay school fees and hospital bills for voters. You are supposed to create a system that works for the voters to get basic needs. Technically, what you alluded to earlier on. Mukoya Yua is watching, wonderful, following from Lindi Kibra, Nairobi. Thank you so much for keeping it right here. And Mashwa Naivasha is watching, says, say hi to Mahesh Mbudhiro. He is a true leader. I think this goes to you. And so much feedback still coming. Remember the hashtag Morning Cafe, hashtag TV47 on the road. We get to sample all this feedback as we proceed with the broadcast. Muraya raises pertinent issues as to how we are dealing with COVID-19 in the country. It's been tough for the people of Nakuru the other time, alongside, of course, Nairobi, Kajiado, talk of Kiambu. At that point, when there was that, kind of lockdown or, isolation, it really did not augur well business-wise, and you being a businessman would agree to that. And here we are, we're talking about 13 other counties that are now facing the same, the dusk to dawn curfew that you speak about. Why do you think we should not be treated to this at a point where we have to preserve the lives of Kenyans?
It's not that advised to safeguard life that harshly. Reader, the pandemic, we are told it's here to stay. So we better be told to practice and to know ways to stay with it.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's very bad to have curfews, but my question and my worries are, why are we having curfews at 10 or at 8 as if the virus is spreading at night? I would say this, because the COVID is here to stay and it's with us, let's try and engage our people and tell them how to stay with the virus. Because, Linda, we have markets operating. Since the pandemic was here, the market have never gone closed. Linda, we are told not to touch each other, not to sit or walk near each other. But as I go to the market, I pick out my money from my pocket, I give it to you, na ninaguza vitu mpaka kwa supermarket. And they are not being sanitized now and then.
Remember, these measures are not to, limit this spread in totality. They're not to say, well, this will curb the spread in totality. They'll just help us limit. And I think it's standardized measures across the global fraternity, World Health Organization measures. Why would you point a finger at the government for just trying to protect its people?
The government also need to work out smartly, because we have I expect that we have experts in matters dealing with this pandemic. Yeah. And we cannot be saying one thing from day one to the last day. We need to change our tactics in fighting the pandemic.
Okay.
Because if we will not, the government just the other day said that once you are caught by the COVID and you are taken to the hospital, the NHIF will not cater for that. Then the economy has gone down. You put curfew hours. Where do you expect these people to get money to pay for the bill?
But going by what it is that we saw the other day after the Madaraka Day celebrations, I see you've opened that page that has been captured on the Daily Nation, right?
Yes.
And the numbers are on the rise in this in Nyanza region and counties that border Nyanza region. So that is to tell you that in as much as we say somehow some of these restrictions that have been put on board are probably not effective or do not make so much sense. Reality is that if maybe the interactions that we witnessed during Madaraka Day were limited, maybe we would not be speaking of what we're speaking of today.
Yes. So Linda, I think as Mwagi is saying, I really accept and I sympathize with our people by virtue of the hard economies we are going through. It's really quite sympathetic, because you see now we are talking about Ndine Mwananchi, who is doing his his daily duties and and most of them, of course, being in the markets and all that. But as much as we say, I think to me I would really appreciate this government because the measure that is taking. Because we have seen a few other countries that have really relaxed a bit of these COVID rules from World Health Organizations. We have a neighboring country like Tanzania, which has a very good testimony of really what happens once issues of such a pandemic. I remember there is a pandemic that happened in Spain. I think it was Spanish flu, and all that. And really, the leadership of that time ignored, and it almost wiped almost half of the world population. Moving forward, of course, you have now this Tanzania, and you can imagine. You see, I found, I saw most of some leaders giving very humbling and hallowing testimonies of how they have lost their loved ones, and even some others losing leaders. So, in fact, to me, and you can even see once We had now this lady, Suruhu, now His Excellency Suruhu, the president.
Yeah,
no, she came up with some software, and she said, now I think it is the high time Tanzania as a country looks at this pandemic like any other country. And we consider it to be a pandemic. So you can imagine if a country like Kenya, we allow all of us, this is this is an international pandemic. In fact, the issues and even is what do you call it? Is it general, how it is transforming? These are things we don't know. So in a nutshell, as much as you would want to have food on the table, it is also good that we also save life because of the ignorance. I know, of course, we also have a bit of a problem with the politicians because you see they're also going out there.
That's true.
They also seems to be preaching water, maybe taking wine, which is also a bit unfortunate. That is maybe the frustration Mwangi could be having. But me as a leader, I would still feel that as much as we say that we have a problem, it is good to admit, surely, that this is a serious pandemic. This is something we have never experienced. So you don't go out there with something you have never experienced and you're not cautious.
And maybe speaks to the larger picture where we as a people should have leaders that look at the future. And therefore, in the event that such is to happen, they have numerous ways and forms and policies that are set on board of cushioning the common mwananchi.
Yes,
yes.
You see, Linda, why did we have the Madaraka celebration in Kisumu? Yet we had the Indian variant.
We could have easily ignored it.
We could have easily ignored it and hold it at State House. But we went there. The head of state went there. The people came out from all these counties. All people went there for Madaraka celebrations. You could see them being tear gassed. They were out in Kisumu. Let me ask you, is this how you are telling me that the government is taking care of its people?
Definitely
by
not.
Going to a county that has been identified as a hotspot with a dangerous variant, na uniambia ati tunaendelea vizuri? That is where I'm getting mad with this government.
Wow.
I'm getting mad. Totally
They can
mad.
never be forgiven for that. That is the most unfortunate thing. And
actually, it is understandable, as you say, but as much as you say, I think there should also be a balancing act, Bwana Monaya, because you see, as much as you say, maybe what we need to do, to focus on, is how we can work out an arrangement, whereby maybe you can see how people can get some help, in terms of food, maybe you get something. But unfortunately, we are having a government that also has a financial constraint, which is a bit unfortunate. So being as a leader, you are in crossroads, isn't it?
We cannot have a government that has constraints in feeding its people. Yet we have a head of state who is telling us that 2 billion are lost daily.
Every day.
So it means he knows where the money is going, who are stealing the money, yet he has the responsibility to take care and to protect lives. Mr. Degwa, let me say this. We have campaigns in Kiaba.
Yeah.
Yes.
Active campaigns.
Active campaigns. Yet we are in the midst of a pandemic. Is this how we are? Do we have elections and campaigns in other countries?
Well, they've had elections, let's be honest.
But
Other countries have held elections and probably had campaigns, or so to speak, but unlimited.
Israel
Recently,
you see, we had a new administration.
But let me ask you. Have you been following the measures that Israel is taking?
Okay.
No, that's it. In fact, Bwana Monaya, what you are saying is true, and I admit, leader. And you see, Israel as a country, it was the first country to take very strict measures on COVID. So the issue of how we need to take ourselves in this country to guide it along so that we have the measures is something that we should not even be discussing about. Moving forward in terms of politics, of course, now when we have a by-election, that one is something we cannot help because we need a representative of Kiaba So this is something that we can also not help. I think the issue that should come on board is how us people and individuals should know that this thing is a killer. It's a pandemic. I think that is a response. Because you see, sometimes we also tend to Charlie, the leadership of the day. But I think it is also good to ask ourselves our responsibility. What do we do as an individual? Because sometimes we blame
we are catalysts of the misbehaviors. Right?
Yes, like you know, he's saying Uhuru that he was talking about the 2 billion that is lost every day. But you see, Uhuru in State House, he cannot prevent somebody doing deals in Nakuru for Kemarero Dam. These guys, there is a cabinet minister entrusted in that ministry. So clearly, you imagine even...
Mariah thinks that's a statement that is misplaced, yes, because the blame will squarely lie on the president.
Exactly.
It's true.
As
but,
the chief executive.
It's true. But you see now, once you inherit a bad people who have, you know, let's be honest.
What are you doing to address that?
No,
I mean, what is he doing to address that?
No,
Much as he said that, yes, this
is the issue of
legacy.
corruption. It never happened during Uhuru's time. This has been happening.
All through.
During Moi, during Kibaki.
But we can't sit down and justify
yes,
it is
bad. It is bad. Yes. In fact, to me, I don't even believe in, I believe in hard. And I've, even myself, I've brought myself up in my own small way through sheer hard work. And me, I really don't condone corruption. But sometimes it's good to accept that when you inherit such a population, when you inherit such a society that believes in cutting deals, like the way Uhuru did, I know he has his own issues, and which is genuine. But I can tell you that during 2013, you know, when we had this, the 50-50, the DP,
yes,
I think some of the cabinet ministers that went through, after I think about 2-3 years, most of them started doing a lot of deals, and there was a lot of money that was stolen. And you see, Uhuru, I can imagine he was so too trusting, which I think that was a bit of
but you see, even if we look at the cabinet, first term and second term, yes, there are changes, there was a reshuffling, adjustments and all that, but we've almost had the same faces again, just probably being switched to different, sectors, and therefore we ask ourselves, if you realize that within you, there's a rot within your cabinet, why do you still maintain the same individuals? And speaking of 50-50, let's get to politics because of the aspect of time. And now, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Right Honorable Raila Odinga are trying to craft again a 50-50 face of what will carry the day in 2022 in terms of a coalition that is being discussed in a meeting that was attended by the likes of Tuju, Murathe, Junet, Mauka Maore and Sifuna. This Mauka Maore story is also interesting because then we also understand his big conversation on the politics of Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West.
Yes.
I do not know what you say about this.
I wanted to, first of all, say something on matters corruption. If I just enter into my business and I notice that there are some money that is being lost, I need to do something.
Yeah.
For me to save that business from going down.
That's true.
So our president has failed us on that. Because we have ministers who are mentioned with corruption deals and whatever, but they were promoted to be ambassadors. So on that, niachie hapo niseme, he knows why he does, he always does that, na hatutauliza. Also, I want to now come to your question, that the coalition now, to make sure the day is gone by 2022, I want to say this, Linda, and I don't know whether Mr. Gotv will agree with me. Raila is one man who has been working with the exiting president in their final terms. Two, he worked with Right Moi. 2008, second term, they worked with Kibaki. Now, he's working with Uhuru, aiming that they will endorse him. But that has never come to be true. The coalition now that is being formed by the people that sat down yesterday or met wherever they met simply tells us that we have leaders who are not focused on what is of our priority. Because, Linda, we are in the midst of a pandemic.
2022 is not a priority?
It's not.
Politics?
It's
What
not.
would happen if today you were to be told that, yes, we are postponing the general elections?
Let me say this. We all know by 2022, August, we shall go to the ballot. We shall have elections. But let me ask you, if all people will die out of this pandemic,
Okay.
shall we go for the elections 2022?
So how do you want us to handle this? Are you not the same person again
we,
who's
we,
complaining
we need
that, well,
we need to. I told you we need to put
different
strategies.
strategies
Like
tack?
how Israel put strategies and measures to fight COVID.
Okay.
So once we are done with COVID, we can now focus on 2022,
2022.
because we all know, not even me, those people who have not even got their IDs, knows that by August we shall go for the elections. So let's first deal with what is on the table. Now we have newspaper here. We are talking about what has been written here. We are dealing with what is on this table. Why are we focusing on what is in the rooms, yet it's not something that is of more important than what we are dealing with today?
But the same thing that you're talking about, the DP who speaks of a bottoms-up approach, still politicking. And this, of course,
Yes,
in his
same
interest
thing.
of 2022. And so, therefore, can we say all the politicians are lying to us today when they speak of 2022 politics? All the politicians do not have the interest of the common wananchi at heart. And in as much as we have COVID-19 today, then should we quash everything, all the businesses, and say, okay, everything at standstill, we're dealing with COVID-19?
I think that one, Mr. Morais is, I don't think, to me, I don't think that would hold much water, Bwana Morais, because you see, like, America went through an election some months ago.
Yep.
It's a bigger economy, it's a more civilized society, and they still withstood because they found that it was a priority. Actually, it is a priority because you see, once we don't go through an election, and you see now this is constitutional, then you can imagine how even the anxiety with people and all that would be. And moving forward, of course, is good to admit that politics, you know, this is time for politics. And you see, whether pandemic or no pandemic, we need to have a new set of leaders by 2022.
Yeah.
It's a fact. This is something they cannot help. And moving forward, you see the issues of how to get a leader and all that. You know, you need to do politics and all that. And I must say that this is the time. This is the time. Because you see, you not tell His Excellency, maybe the deputy, not to go out there and, you know, or Honorable Ida Odinga. So these arrangements are very normal. It has always happened. And you see, like now that maybe Raila himself as a person, you know, they say that he has a single bullet left. That is what people say.
That is what happened in 2017.
Yes.
As far as we're concerned, I mean, we don't know where they are.
Yes, even a few of us, because we have been aspiring since for a bit of time now, coming second. And you see, that is sometimes why I sympathize with Raila, because even me, we share maybe the same predicament, coming second twice. And some guy was telling me that could be my last bullet. And I told him, I'm still a young man. It is only that I started aspiring when I was very young.
Okay.
Because I started aspiring even when I was so down, I was blocked.
Okay.
I was literally hawking politics aloud, you know, because I knew that I had a political career. I feel I have servant. I feel I have a servant leader, and money or no money, or you know, you don't define a leader through the box. And sometimes it is not light to say that Laila maybe he has failed and you see he has issues and all that. Because sometimes you also need to have to see the tribalism of this country. If you don't have if you could be even if you have good
you
leader,
don't have Mount
and you
Kenya
have
on your side.
the numbers, you have no numbers, you have no money, you have no business. I mean, like now, you know, the only guys who can spin as presidential wheel in this country, they are few.
How can
Because
we get
are talking
ourselves
about
off
almost
this?
100 billion.
You know,
100 billion.
Engineer, that is very important a point.
Yes.
Mariah, how do we get ourselves off this and get to a level where we talk of politics of ideologies, politics of individuals that are capable to steer the country into a right direction, politics of maturity? Because if we're still talking of who has money, if we're talking about who comes from this region that enjoys the numbers, then I would want to believe in terms of leadership, we are not getting to a level of emancipation anytime soon.
Yes. Rinda, the change of mindset to each and every one of us is the way to save us now from all these problems that we are facing. If I sit down and I focus in knowing what is inside Honorable Gotv, I interrogate him, I engage him in many ways, I will be able to know what kind of a leader he is. If people, like, if I may say, I've been in Naivasha now for 24 years.
Yeah.
And I've always engaged with the county council, now the county government, on matters harassing our people. I've sat with like every admin who have come to Naivasha, MCAs, asking them, now you want to chase these people from this place and you don't want to see them hawking. Yet we don't have business or employment opportunities. What are you creating? You are creating more problem than what you are thinking that you are solving. So let's have ways. What do you want us to do? You want us to be clean? You want us to work for these hours? We shall agree, we shall abide with that. And once we talk and we engage, we come up with strategies. That is why you have never heard of Naivasha having demonstrations that hawkers have been chased away. So I have already always stood with these people, and I have already always engaged with the leadership to make sure that these people get a living, to take care of their families, to pay their bills, and that's how I have been. Not that I have money. It's because I just want to put out what is in me as I aspire to become a leader, for the people to know that I'll be giving them my ear to listen to them. Hivyo kama saa hii tutaagree na mtu tutapita hii njia. And this is my problem. Once you want to chase people, come sit down with the leader that represents those people.
Okay.
Engage him. Let him go back to his people and first have a chat with them. Then they come up with strategies, because watu wako na shida na wako na njia za kuziondokea. Only that they are not given a chance to give their views.
All right. Let's see what Karanja Ranjez says. What Nakuru County now taking a pride in Nakuru being the city I am certain the cost of livelihoods will increase, as also there will be economic growth. Well, a cost of livelihoods increasing, I don't know, that would be something that many people would probably not want, in the sense that, cost of living becomes higher is not what Kenyans desire. But, well, the fact that it will grow, being declared a city comes with growth.
Yes.
And he raises issues to do with, the numbers, the rising numbers of hawkers. What needs to be done to make sure that, as Nakuru County, you get it right?
Yes.
Because we've seen what is happening in Nairobi City, what is happening in Mombasa City, Kisumu City for that matter, and there are always fears of handling this. So then how different should, the leadership of Nakuru play these cards to make sure that it is a city that will be pride, that many will pride in?
Yes, Linda, I must say that really I take this advantage to thank the leadership of the day and the people of Nakuru with us having gone the status of being a city, which is quite not a mean achievement, because you see, of course, being a city, it comes in handy with quite so much. One, of course, more money, and and a lot of things that comes now with the city. But moving forward, of course, I must say that it is really a challenge for in the government, the county government and sub-counties, because you see now that it is a city, you see the cost will go up, because you see now more people will come, there will be investment the cost of investments will still be a bit high, even in terms of the rates and all that. But you see that, to me, I take it as a goodwill coming to people of Nakuru, because you see now the focus in terms of investment from other counties will be Nakuru. Yeah. You see, that to me, I think in that way will be okay. But moving forward, I think also the leadership, maybe the county government, the sub-counties, they should, now that there will be a boom, the population will go up, and we need now to look about the infrastructure, how you need to expand the hospitals, you need to expand schools and all that. So really, it is something, as we are saying, when we have a growing economy, it is also the responsibility of any citizen to know that now you need to cope up with the development. And that, of course, comes now with the same challenge that any leadership now of this country and now Nakuru should focus on issues of policy. Because if you don't have a policy, now that the population will go up and the expectation of the country also is a big problem. And that is why I was even telling Mr. Molaya here that like a place like Nakuru and even a place like Naivasha, we have a lot of natural resources and we can really take advantage of. The same. And
as we close,
like now we've been saying about the leads around Lake Naivasha. I've been thinking if we could have we make some mats. We make some small industries, you see, like the mats. We also work out some cultural centers so that we bring communities together. So that as people comes to a lake like here, and now because we pride ourselves as being a cosmopolitan constituency and maybe county, if we could have cultural centers all over, so that we have all the communities will be selling their own, traditions and all that.
All right.
Yes.
We look forward to see that so that we can be touring.
Yes, that's it.
More often as we close.
Something.
Yes.
And I really want to say it's good now that we are in a city status. But Linda, let me tell you, being a city status, yet in Naivasha sub-county, sewage is running, it's flowing.
It's a problem.
Day in, day out.
Yes.
We don't have enough fire engines. I don't get what criteria was used.
Oh yeah? You think you did not deserve to?
We didn't.
Oh yeah?
We didn't.
There's a
I'm
different view
saying
and an interesting
we
confidence.
Yes, I'm very much confident we didn't.
Did not deserve to
We
be
did not
declared.
deserve to be
Declared a city
declared
just, yes.
as a city, because the priority and first thing first,
Yeah.
fire fighting agents. Like we have had fire burning here in Naivasha the past 2 months. I saw the governor arraigned like 30 fire agents. But let me tell you, we had none here in Naivasha.
Wow.
People get burned in their house here in Kayore.
That's
true, yeah?
Yes,
That is a problem.
It's true, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, as Samuel is saying,
We have to close.
Did we have a few issues that they also need to be addressed.
Yeah.
The issue of fire is a big problem. Actually, as he's saying, it is good to admit. The issue of sewerage, the issue of runoff in Naivasha, especially as a town, because it has never really been addressed, because when it rains, really the place really gets flooded. And I can imagine, of course, that should be, of course, it should be addressed by the county and the DJ, even the MP himself.
Interesting.
MP,
I'd want to look at Naivasha as one of the key towns of Nakuru County.
Yes.
And therefore, if there's a problem in Naivasha, then
There
needs to be.
Even in terms of infrastructure.
All right. Well, that's an interesting view right there, that according to Muraya, Nakuru does not deserve that title of being a city based on the standards of it. Well, we have to close it at that. It's an interesting debate that maybe we'll have the privilege of having some other time. But then, gentlemen, I have to say asante sana for having, time to sit with us this morning. You've had the time.
Yeah.
And on that note, we have, touched on key issues that pertain to the development of the country, and of course, trickling down to these different regions, the counties, because then we're talking of a scenario where we need to make the best of devolution, and therefore it's crucial that we bring these services to the people. When we have these sessions at the county levels, then we celebrate them. But even as we have them, we look forward to see them being implemented. Implementation is key. Engineer Solomon Degwa, thank you so much for your time. And Joseph Muraya, political analyst and strategist, asante sana for speaking to us this morning. We are not done just yet, because we still have DJ Freddy on the other side. Lots of music for you. Remember, we are at the Lake Naivasha Resort, hosted here. We keep saying that it is that moment where TV47 traverses the different counties. It is the Home of Untold Stories. It is TV47 to signify the 47 counties in the country. That is to say that we are here to tell your stories, that we are here to traverse all these parts to make sure that we enjoy the best of what it is that we have as a people. And that's exactly what we'll be doing. We do not fall short of the same. Hosting this segment of Morning Cafe, or this special edition of Morning Cafe in Nakuru County, indeed a pleasure. So we take a short break and we'll be coming back to, more of music and so much more. Later on, we'll also be telling you who will be the winner of the cake, courtesy of Valentine's Cake House. So after this break, we're back with more.
Precast panels, we have the best quality, durable and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast